Good afternoon, everyone. It's David Schlotthauer here in the home weather office for Friday, October the 20th, 2023, with a detailed update on Hurricane Tammy. Taking a look at the latest mesofloater satellite imagery provided by Dr. Levi Cowan at tropicaltidbits.com, and the structure with Tammy has not changed much since yesterday. And what I mean by that, system still looks a little bit anemic. It's not really healthy as far as if it's a hurricane, which 75-mile-an-hour winds does support. It really doesn't look much better organized for a hurricane than it did yesterday. And why that is we still have the shear to deal with. It is coming in out of the westerly direction at about 15 to 20 knots. And that's allowing this system to not become vertically aligned. And it is possible at the mid-level vortex is right over here versus the surface vortex might be just to the west of that where we had an earlier burst of deep convection. But to the south, we do have a very intense, healthy feeder band, which is also not wrapping all the way around the system, which would otherwise allow for steady intensification. The P-3 Orion aircraft from NOAA did fly the mission into Tammy this morning and did find that, yeah, there is a little bit hints here of some hurricane force winds at 64 knots or greater. So there is some hurricane force to the north of the system at this given time. However, you can see to the south, we are not seeing a whole lot of wind here, just barely tropical storm intensity from the west-southwesterly direction, where the strongest winds, where we have that burst of deep convection, where we might have that center or a reformation trying to happen further to the southeast. But again, that's a little uncertain since we don't have any data to confirm that in that area. But otherwise, this system does not look very healthy at all and looks very elliptical and asymmetrical. In other words, where we have some elongation to the wind here, where we have the strongest winds right where that earlier burst of deep convection happened this morning. The panel on the right side also kind of is similar to that other one, where again we have the strongest winds on the northern and eastern quadrants of the circulation. The latest National Hurricane Center has issued hurricane warnings for much of these islands, all the way from St. Kitts and Nevis, Antigua, Barbuda, Guadeloupe, Montserrat, Dominica, as well as Martinique, under hurricane warnings. Actually, tropical storm watch over for Martinique, but we have hurricane warnings all the way up here near the Virgin Islands. So please take this seriously, folks. The strongest winds should miss you, hopefully, just to the east of the islands, but still, you're going to get a lot of rainfall. You're going to get a lot of impacts. So, therefore, if you're under a hurricane warning, please take this seriously and please take action to protect yourself, okay, and your property. Because, again, this is headed right towards these islands, headed to the northwest right now at about 7 miles an hour. And, again, winds are at 75 miles an hour at the moment. Now, looking at the earliest reasonable arrival time of tropical storm force winds right now for these islands, anywhere between a 90 to 100% chance of tropical storm force winds for some of the islands like Guadeloupe, St. John's, Antigua, and Barbuda. That's why there are hurricane warnings out, along to go with tropical storm warnings at this moment. And it looks like you could have tropical storm and hurricane force winds arriving as early as late tonight into early Saturday morning. When you wake up in the morning, it could be really stormy. Talking a lot about rain, fall, some storm surge, and maybe some high surf. So the key messages for Tammy are as follows. Hurricane conditions are now expected in portions of the Leeward Islands by late tonight or Saturday morning. Tropical storm conditions are expected to begin in portions of the Lesser Antilles within the hurricane warning area later today. Heavy rains from Tammy will begin to affect the Leeward and Northern Windward Islands later today into Saturday morning, spreading into the British and U.S. Virgin Islands and Puerto Rico as early as Sunday. This rainfall may produce isolated flash and urban flooding, along with isolated mudslides in areas of higher terrain. A storm surge could also produce some coastal flooding in areas of onshore winds as the center of Tammy moves near or over the Leeward Islands near the coast. The surge will be accompanied by large and destructive waves. With that being said, let's take a look at our latest hurricane models. This is the 12Z from the HWRF for October the 20th, 2023. And as we do kind of move this forward, please note that there is barely semblance of hurricane force winds. And the NHC, in my belief, okay, might be a little overdoing this. I think winds are right now at least 70 miles an hour. But again, please follow your local officials and your official sources for the latest information. That's my job. I want to provide accurate and honest information. So if the NHC is calling this a hurricane, we might as well say it is Hurricane Tammy. But in my belief, it's probably just under that at the moment. But either way, hurricane force winds are expected this afternoon according to this model. Might get that a little bit stronger or hang around between 70 to 75 miles an hour all the way through Saturday morning. Here is Guadalupe, by the way, right in here. And this is for Saturday morning. So this passes just off the coast of Guadalupe Island as early as, say, late Saturday morning, early Sunday, as, again, a 75-mile-per-hour hurricane. That's Tammy. And then it departs these islands, and then it might try to reorganize. But the question is, what about the HMON? Is the HMON a little closer? Well, let's take a look here. So going forward in time, we know, again, it's going to maintain that hurricane intensity or high-end tropical storm, approaching just off the coast or making landfall on one of the islands here. That would be Point du Nord. That's the little island right in here. Just a teeny island, just a little baby. You might get maybe hurricane force wind gusts for sure. Hurricane force winds, probably a slim possibility, but definitely some tropical storm force winds in a narrow corridor. And this moves over the rest of the islands where it will produce some heavy rainfall and some strong winds. Looking at the HAVS A model, very similar, right off the coast of Guadalupe and some of these other islands like Dominica, Antigua, and Barbuda could really bring in some impacts. And this is, again, from Saturday morning all the way through early in the wee hours of Sunday, where, again, we could see winds between 70 to 75 miles an hour. I am pretty confident that Tammy may not strengthen much more than what it is already based on the latest model guidance. Even the GFS, even so I did not show it in the video, it's even going a little weaker on the system. So therefore, my intensity forecast is pretty much in the middle here with winds between about 80 to maybe 85 miles an hour. I mean, I'm only calling for very modest strengthening with Tammy before it really begins to weaken within the next 5 or so days as it gets encroached with shear and dry air, part of a trough to its north. So therefore, it's going to weaken beyond that time frame. So as far as where is Tammy headed from here? Well, right now, most of the model guidance have definitely been recorrecting towards a system that moves just over some of the islands and just offshore of the leewards in the next 1 to 2 days. But beyond that, the turn to the northeast is likely based on most of the model guidance. But please, do not use this map to make decisions. Please seek official info, as this is just a guidance and not a forecast. This does not mean that I should be prepared or worried that there's going to be a landfall over Guadalupe. This could pass just off the coast or just west of you. We don't know exactly, but the fact that it has already began that track to the northwest today probably means that it will pass within a few miles away from Guadalupe or within maybe 10 or 20 miles away from that. I thought it would be nice to do a quick update on Hurricane Norma, also a very powerful hurricane headed towards Cabo San Lucas, Mexico over the next day or so as it moves northward. The latest visible satellite imagery from Dr. Levi Cowan at tropicaltidbits.com still illustrates that we have some very deep convection happening surrounding the system right now, as we are just beginning to see hints that the southwesterly shear is soon to pick up on the system, helping to dismantle the vortex and tilt it to prevent further strengthening with Norma's structure as it continues to move northward at about 5 to 10 miles an hour. This is the latest from the National Hurricane Center on Norma, and hurricane warnings have already been posted for Cabo San Lucas, Mexico, as well as the mainland of Mexico, with a tropical storm watch that is issued there. The system is expected to rapidly weaken as it moves further north, but still, it is a Category 2 with winds of 110 miles an hour, movement to the north-northwest at 8 miles an hour. Looking at the key messages on Hurricane Norma very quickly, Norma is expected to bring hurricane conditions to far southern portion of the Baja California Peninsula within the hurricane warning area on Saturday. Heavy rains from Norma will begin to impact the far southern portions of Baja California later today and continue through Sunday, with heavy rainfall reaching Sinaloa on Saturday. This rainfall may produce urban and flash flooding along with possible mudslides in areas of higher terrain. Norma is expected to approach the west coast of Mexico as a tropical storm on Sunday and Sunday night, and a tropical storm watch has been issued for that portion of that area. If you all want to participate in the Weather Force Weather Mansion Discord server, please consider joining today. There will be a link in the description below this video. I encourage you all to invite your friends, invite your family. It is 100% free to join the Weather Force Discord server today. There will be a link, an invite link. Please make sure you look in the description where you could find that, and when you click on it, it is free to join. There is no cost whatsoever, and we're excited to have you in the server. I'm also starting a Facebook page named Sacramento Weather Center Group. I do localized forecast in the Sacramento region, all the way from Redding, all the way down towards Turlock, into the foothills and mountains of the Sierra, including Lake Tahoe, including Fairfield off to the west, as well as Tracy and Livermore. So if you want to join today to follow me with localized weather forecasts for the upcoming winter season, please join today. It is also 100% to follow me. There's no cost whatsoever. It is 100% free. But anyways, that is going to sum it up for today's detailed update on Hurricane Tammy for October the 20th, 2023. As always, please make sure you seek official info from the National Hurricane Center or your local officials for the latest information for where you're at. I only could provide my behalf on what I think Tammy is doing. And please, again, seek official sources. But otherwise, that's going to do it. Thank you all for watching. Share, like, and subscribe, and I'll be back with you more this afternoon with a U.S. weather forecast.